Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Hardcore Heroes. Um, Malachi, you are down at the boat.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm in my father's quarters,
Mm-hmm.
the captain's quarters. So it might sound cliche, but does he have a journal?
He
Captain's
does
log.
have a journal.
All right, we're gonna start there.
Okay, Captain's log. He perused through it. He was clearly in Redport. They were trading for the usual things. Nothing looks out of the ordinary there.
Yep. What are the
Uh,
usual things out of interest?
Silks, spices, goods from the lands to the east. Redport is the central trading, was the main spot for any goods coming from the east or about to head out to the east. Redport's like the main port between the other continent and here. So a lot of other people will come bring supplies to Redport from far, far overseas, and then your father's one of the people who take the supplies from Redport and then bring them down to the rest of the continent of Arcadia.
Okay. So that is like a place where there's loads of different kinds of people.
Yeah, Redport is the one of the most diverse places in Arcadia.
Okay. So anything could have happened there.
Anything could happen there.
So is there anything towards the end of the journal that is out of the ordinary?
He mentions having a one of his contacts in Redport was giving him a hard time about money, saying that these things are worth trying to stiff him on the price, trying to say things were worth more than they were. Things got a little heated. People got
Yeah.
to some pushings and there was some shovings. No blood was drawn. Everything got broken up, and he ended up going with a different merchant for his goods. He
What was
just
that guy's name?
laments
Do we know?
that the new merchant.
No, the original guy who we had the trouble with.
His name was Hitchens.
Hitchens. Okay.
Hitchens was the old merchant.
Is that all there is that stands out? What about after he starts getting sick? What does it describe symptoms or anything like that?
No, his journal just stops.
Okay. What about on his desk? Is there any manifestos or half-written letters or?
Yeah, there's manifestos for all the cargo. There is a note, a letter actually written to a lady, it seems, and it's a little vulgar. It has, you know, it's basically like it's like an erotic letter to a woman that you've
Okay.
never heard of before.
All right. I kind of just leave that there. Um, from the manifestos and what's written in the journal, is it possible to work out what he traded with Hitchens
He ended up not trading with Hitchens at all. He went with a new merchant.
or what he was going to?
Yeah, he was looking to get some Eastern silks.
So he's going to buy silks from Hitchens.
Hmm. Yes, he was buying silks and a special type of dwarven whiskey.
Okay. What about? Is there anything else in the cabin? His backpack, or I check in his like footlocker at the bottom of his bed.
Locked.
Hmm.
He tends to keep the key around his neck on a little tie.
Okay, well I'll keep that in mind then. That's something to check. Aside from that, is there anything that draws my eye?
One sec. There is not anything that draws your eye, but as you're kind of looking around, the door opens and uh,
Delta.
in walks Delta.
Ah, Delta. Thank you for seeing me. I sit
Hmm.
down in my father's chair.
He gives you a frown, but otherwise stands before you.
So, I've spoke with my master, Rohanna. She thinks that my father his ailment is magical in nature. I've been reading his diary, looking at his things. Do you have any insight on who or what may wish to do this to him? You were there with him.
Yeah, wizards can't be trusted. No offense, but Your kind are often well, there's a reason most wizards sneak around with magic rather than confronting a man face to face.
It's easy to misjudge a man when you're not intelligent enough to fully understand his motivations. Sick burn. This
Well,
guy, Hitchens, I read in the captain's log. Could he have anything to do with it?
he walks over and snatches the captain's log from the desk. He goes, "You shouldn't be looking through that. It's none of your business."
I believe it is my business. If my father is to die, then this is all my business.
Hitchens is a jackass and a traitor. He's a merchant with no scruples. He'll sell you for a nickel if he could.
Is that all he would do? Sell you? Would he try and kill you?
He's been known to deal in halfling feat. I don't know if he would murder a man in cold blood. I don't know if he'd murder a man in hot blood, maybe only in cold.
Let's say it's not Hitchens then. Is there anything else?
Your father's been seeing a woman lately. I
Yeah.
don't know what's going on there. He keeps it tight.
Do you know where she lives?
Redport. I know where her house is. I don't know her name though, or what she looks like.
So how far is the travel to Redport?
It would
Is it
take you a
days?
while. Yeah,
So-
we're talking days, maybe weeks of travel, depending on tides and winds.
So Malachi's thinking now, if whoever did this is in Redport, it's too far away to get there before he's going to die anyway.
Yeah.
So we've got to find some sort of outside solution regardless of the circumstances. Well, thanks for your time, Delta. I'm going to head back to the house. You're free to stay there if you wish.
Okay. Sure. By the time you get back to your house,
Aldrich.
Aldrich the Conjurer is there with Rohanna the Diviner. Aldrich's looking over your father and turns to you and goes, "You're the apprentice, right?"
Yes, this is my father.
Well, Rohanna is correct. Your father has been placed under some sort of curse or magical condition.
Yes, and?
I may be able to help in some ways, but my time is valuable and my powers are great.
I assure you that my family, we can pay whatever it is you require.
One sec here. I can try something, although it may not work. And if it does not work, I have another option that may delay the effects, but they cannot stop them. If it is a magical curse in nature, I may be able to dispel it.
Yes. How much does this cost you?
It would cost him Aldrich the Conjurer. My powers are great and they are not cheap. 500 gold for the dispel magic spell.
How much, like, wealth does my family have? How much is the ship
Not
worth?
a lot. You could sell the house or the ship and have that sort of money, or give him the house or the ship in exchange, but you don't have 500 gold cash lying around. Maybe if all of the ship's cargo were to be sold, you could get 500 gold, but the crew still needs to be paid, and you can't sell that much money You can't sell that much stuff overnight.
Aldrich, the cost is too great. Perhaps there is something I could do for you in exchange. I have friends in town. We are quite formidable.
There are some things, But they are dangerous, and I would not be able to assist your father until I have been paid.
Speak.
What do you know of the Tether Wilds?
As much as any man.
It's the hilly region to the east.
A place to be avoided.
Yes, a place of griffins, giants. Specifically, a place of giants. I have need of giant's hair. Lots and lots of giant's hair. If you and your friends can bring me back enough, I will do this for you.
The hair of a giant.
Not simply the hair, but enough to braid into a belt.
That is a large ask, Aldrich.
Is your father's life worth it?
I'll speak with you soon. Thank you.
Do not think you can just summon me willy-nilly, little one. My time is precious. He
I understand.
makes his leave.
Turn to Rohana. What do you make of this? Suicide, no?
Killing a giant might be suicide. Giving the giant a haircut? Maybe not. You've got those friends of yours, right? That little gnome and the one with the big fat eyes that look like they're about to pop.
Yeah.
They're cunning people.
Might be hard to convince them.
Maybe.
Rohana,
But
is there
everybody sleeps.
Perhaps Mother Elise can delay the effects long enough for me to discuss this and perhaps carry it out.
She's not in town. The sailors say she's not in town today.
Is Mother Elise like a high-level cleric?
Yes, she's the high cleric in town and the highest, most powerful cleric in town.
Do you know where she resides?
Actually, you know where she resides. She lives
I
in...
mean, like, right now, though, like, where is she if she's
Oh.
out of town?
No, I don't know. One of the other clerics in town would, or any of the priests might.
Very well. I shall speak to my friend.
By now, it is late. It's a few hours after the sun has set. Most people are in their beds. The bars are still open and will be for some time.
I'll take my father's key if it's on his round his neck and head back to the ship.
Okay.
If you want to switch to someone else, maybe.
Sure. Well, actually, there's no one else to switch to for the time being.
All right.
So let's just keep it going with you.
So I'll just go and check that, and then I'll probably head to bed if I don't find anything.
Just check what?
I'll take the key and I just go to his cabin and
Oh.
open his footlocker.
Yeah. His footlocker just contains the normal stuff that you'd find in there. There's no evidence of anything going on or happening. Just some change of clothes, some money, some trinkets, some letters from this woman that he's meeting. You learn her name is Rosa.
Rosa, okay.
Rosa.
I take those letters.
Okay.
And then I head back to the house and go to sleep.
Okay.
Though, I mean, if the bars are open, maybe I actually head to the half pint.
Sure. You get to the half pint.
Is everyone in there?
I don't know. Where did you guys all head off? Are you hanging out together? Or are you going back to work? Going back to sleep?
I can be at the half pint. That works for me.
I'm always there, so.
You're always there, yeah.
Helsing?
Van Helsing would be the one that I was most looking to talk to.
Helsing, would you
It's
be?
nighttime?
It's a few hours after dark. A few hours after you got
Yeah,
back.
then I'm definitely in the temple then. I'm probably still awake, like doing some sort of work.
Okay.
So maybe I actually go there then.
All right. You get to the temple. It's still open. It's open all night long. So you can probably find Heelsing walking around.
So Van will know about Mother Elise, right?
Well, he's been gone out of town, but he would
Would I
know
have heard it
if.
from any of the acolytes?
Yeah,
Like-
you could have talked to anyone in their town. Like someone in your temple will know.
Okay.
Van, my father has returned. He is ill. I wish to speak with Mother Elise. The people I've spoken to said she's left town. Maybe you would know where she is. Maybe you could find out for me.
Give me a moment. I kind of like see. I look for really any acolyte, and I just kind of ask for sort of news for while I was gone, like where Elise is.
Mother Elise has gone up to Thornwood for a week or so.
Okay. I kind of relay that and say, if you were expecting fast relief from Mother Elise, you won't find it from her. She's going to be gone for roughly a week.
Curses! Time is of the essence.
Sorry.
Van, he is dying.
Do you know what from?
I think it's a curse, magical. This wizard in town, Aldri, he's offered to help, but at great cost.
To cast a spell.
Indeed.
Greedy wizards.
Well, usually I would have to disagree, but under the circumstances, perhaps you're right. Would you accompany me to the Half Pint? I wish to speak with our friends.
Of course, of course. It's night. The temple is closed. I've just been, housekeeping for the most part. Let's go.
Cool.
Fantastic.
All right,
Okay,
you
so
guys
we
make it
head
over to
there.
the Half Pint.
And maybe like summon Corny from the depths of the cellar.
Yes.
So everyone's sat around the table. And I say, friends, my father returned to the village, to Shybrook today. He's unwell, dying, some magical ailment. I think I know how to save his life, but it will cost me a great deal, more than I have. In place of wealth, I may be able to offer my services, but I would require your aid.
What
Well,
services
let us
are
know
we-
what it is.
Well, you're not gonna like it. This
Are you
wizard.
turning into Croak?
Now is not a time for jokes, Van.
Of course.
There's a wizard in town, Aldri, the conjurer. Says he wants to make a belt out of the hair of a giant. Now, I know how that sounds, but we wouldn't necessarily have to kill it. We could talk it into letting us cut its hair, trick it, knock it out. I could
That
offer you
does sound
something,
quite absurd.
but I could not offer you enough for the risk involved.
Neil? What do I know of the Tether Wilds? Like, how far? Like, what kind of journey are we talking about to go there?
Well, the Tether Wilds are about 12 miles out of town. So
Okay.
more or less the same distance as it took to get to Burnshire. Except there's no road. It's through the forest and across the river. So it's 12 miles through more dangerous territory.
Uh-huh.
And then once you get
And-
actually to the Tether Wilds themselves, they're kind of this non-settled land with all sorts of things that live there.
Okay. Giants, how prevalent are they? Like, if we show up in the Tether Wilds, are we going to see a giant real quick? Or are we going to... Is it reasonable to think we're going to wander around for a week looking for one?
You have no idea. It's like
Look.
if I asked you, if you went to Africa right now, how quickly would you see an elephant? And you're like, I don't know.
That's fair. Okay. Mr. Malachi, I wouldn't mind helping you out here. If a wizard needs a braid of hair from a giant, I imagine if we got 2 or 3 braids of hair, he might pay for the other ones. My concern here is I have some business, you might think, with the Twin Towers, and I don't want to leave it for long. How urgent is this matter with your father? Is he stable?
Is he stable, Neil? I mean, I don't know really, do I?
You have the information I have told you.
I'm not sure. He's alive for now.
Malachi, this is. We're talking about traveling into untamed territory where all sorts of evil lingers, braving miles upon miles of that to somehow talk a giant into allowing you to give him a haircut.
I like put my head in my hands,
Mm.
shake my
Well,
head.
perhaps at night there's no need for talking to it. A sharp blade will cut it, whether he's a willing participant or not.
Van Helsing is right. The chance of success is minimal.
Any of us could die very easily out there. This is not a safe trek.
How old is my father?
58.
Well, he's had a good run.
Leave it at that. No.
Time to inherit a ship.
I respect that choice.
I think I get like a drink from the bar and just kind of like, yeah, head in hands, just drink the evening away. And maybe agree to carry out the plan with Lord Twin Tower first.
All right. Well, I asked you to figure out what your relationship with your father was, and if this is it.
Yeah. I mean, I tried to play out a realistic amount of grief for the current situation, but I'm not stupid.
Yeah, I feel like at the point of it's like your parents fall ill and some guy's like, I can cure him, just go kill a giant for me.
Yeah.
Well,
Like, my father wouldn't want me to sell the entire wealth of the family just to save his life, I don't think. I
Also,
say
can
that.
we-
I say that at some point when I'm drunk. It's like, no, he wouldn't want me to risk my own life, I don't think.
No, clearly, any good father knows that you have to look out for yourself.
Yeah.
that's a very hardcore attitude.
Well, hey.
Guys
You-
are
you are
so
feeling-
Giants
heroic.
are scary. Giants are scary regardless of...
That is dark and full of
Hardcore.
terrors, man.
We're hardcore, but we only have one chance to be hardcore.
Yeah.
No, I drink the night away. I'll see how I feel about it in the morning.
Cool.
I don't think Van Helsing kind of answers either way to it. I think he definitely doesn't want to personally, but he's not outright refusing. I think he's kind of going with the group, like whatever the group decides to do.
Corny is all fucking for it, man. Like he just at one point he holds up his wine and he's like, "You guys, just think about it. If I gave some giants my ale, they would love me forever and compare. Oh,
I think maybe, like, at that point, like, I look up, eyes wide, look at Connie. Giants drink, right?
Experience. Think
That
of
could
all
work.
the experience.
You realize that if a giant drinks some wine, he's probably going to be looking for a snack, too. You look like a mighty fine meat and cheese plate to me.
Maybe we
I
can
like
bring
smell my armpits. I'm like, I don't smell like cheese. That must be just with the breeze.
Oh my god, Nick, I swear to god, if I die here, I'm gonna fly out to England and slap you. Van Helsing kind of into his hands and just goes,
No, let's deal with tonight first. A drink, and then is there a library, Neil? In town?
Shirebrook. Where are the buildings in Shirebrook? Hold on. I must refer to my notes. These towns are complicated.
Yeah. Perhaps Rohana has a library.
There is no library in town. Each noble might have some books in their house. Rohana definitely has some books. The baroness probably has some books, and Aldrich definitely has some, but there's no public library.
Okay, so I want to maybe, assuming nothing else happens in the tavern, when I get back to, when I'm walking home, I'll stop at the magic store and maybe try and find a book on giants.
Does Rohana have anything discussing giants? She does, actually. She has a text that speaks on megafauna.
Okay, cool. So specifically then, I want to know how susceptible they are to magical suggestion. If they're stupid or not.
Well,
How willing they are to sort of make trades.
The book says there are many types of giants in the world, although Arcadia is home almost exclusively to hill and frost giants.
Yeah, so I'm going to go with hill giants.
And it says hill giants are fairly stupid, only slightly more intelligent than the Ettins, of which there are none in Arcadia.
So here's the thing though, out of game. Hypnotism, it works on a saving spell, right?
Saving throw, yeah.
Saving throw as a spell, so the intelligence of the creature doesn't play into
Has
it.
no effect. It has to do with the creature's hit dice.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
Giants have like 11 billion hit dice.
yeah, it's too risky. It's death if it fails, if it passes. What about like how willing are they to trade with humans?
The
make
book does
deals.
not go into that much detail, unfortunately. The
Okay.
ranger in town might know, though. It's his
I think
job to
maybe
patrol the wilds.
I'm like sat in the foyer of the magic store reading this book,
Mhm.
and I like pass out, like head in the book, drunk for the night.
All right, next morning.
So I was looking at saving throws.
What's the plan, guys?
Someone needs to speak to Twin Tower, right?
Yeah, I think we need to talk to Twin Tower.
Well, I mean, yeah, I kind of waiting for Malachi to wake up from his drunken stupor because I want to see if I'm going to be heading off to the Tether Wilds or if I'm going to be talking to Lady Twin Tower or Lord Twin Tower.
Yeah.
What was the atmosphere like at the table when I was there?
I think
so. Corny, you were into it. Van Helsing, you were against
I
it.
think I was the most skeptical. I don't think I ever outright refused to go, but I was like very skeptical. Like I don't think I ever had a point where I was like, "Yeah, dude, let's fucking fight a giant." I was just like, "We will die."
Oh no! At no point did I ever think there was a risk of fighting the giant. I thought it was going to be happiness and flowers and sharing of whiskey and ale. That was Cordy's view.
What about you, Croak? How did you?
I think that Croak was a little cautious and afraid and didn't really want to do it, but you could probably tell there was a glint of desire or greed in his eyes when he thought of perhaps shaving off more than one giant and selling it to this wizard. So there's at least a spark there, although he's definitely concerned.
So I think I'm a bit conflicted, really. My own self-preservation against my love for my father. I assume that the rest of the group are going to follow up on Twin Tower, and today I will try and go and speak to this ranger.
Okay. So then I'm going to try to find myself an audience with the Lord Twin Tower.
Yeah, I'll go with him on this one.
Corny, where are you going?
Where's everyone going again? Sorry.
Twin Tower.
Twin Tower.
Yeah, we're going Twin Towers, and then Malachi is going to speak to a ranger. I think about giants.
Yeah, I'll go with Malachi. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So
Two and
let's
two.
do Malachi and Corny. Corny first, as they go to speak to Sturge,
Sturge the ranger.
ranger of Shirebrook. He lives on the outskirts of town, well away from everyone else, and he is known as kind of a stern, short-tempered man. He's in his late 30s, and he's not really a very friendly sort of fella. Has it that he's seen a lot of bad things in his life, and he was hired to be Baroness Velmont's first ranger after his his hatred, his absolute hatred for the goblins.
Giants, damn it.
Goblin Sturge. Yeah, after his personal hatred for the goblins in the area around here led their population to drop significantly.
Nice.
And he's kind of rid the nearby area of goblins and has been working closely with Tyrus in keeping the bullywugs at bay.
So is he a bit of a badass?
I mean, yeah, he definitely. He's Baroness Belmont's like head ranger, so he's a bit of a badass. I would say that.
All right. So we head to his like place out of town. Is it like
Hmm.
a campsite or is it a house?
He's got a little hut outside of the town.
I say does he ever turn up to the half pint? This guy.
No,
Corny, do you have any of that ale with you?
I do. And I hold it up.
Maybe you could offer it to him.
That I could. But should I? Yes.
Yes, I think should. Okay.
Yeah.
I head up to the door and I just say to Corny, he probably already knows we're here, but knock on the door.
you hear a voice coming actually from the woods to the side. Who are you and what are you doing here?
Greetings, Sturge. My name is Malachi. I am a wizard from town. I request an audience with you.
Okay. A man steps out from behind a tree and relaxes his longbow that he had drawn and notched, pointing at you guys. He strides over towards you. Do I have any stats on his size? No. He's a medium-sized human male, decent build, youngish, 30-something, definitely. He's wearing studded leather armor, a splotchy green cloak, and carries 2 short swords, one on either hip, as well as a dagger at his side.
What do I know about him? Is he known to be a good man or a harsh man?
Stern, short-tempered, fairly cautious, antisocial.
Okay. Sturge, I request your knowledge, perhaps your aid. May we sit inside? I'm afraid I'm not as comfortable in the wilderness as you are.
He nods and motions for you to walk in the door.
I walk in and I say, my friend here, he runs the half pint. I've had him bring some of his finest ale for you to try.
Yeah, I
Please,
held it out to him
Let's try it together.
with a big smile.
You
Oh yeah,
first.
I'll like. Yeah. Does he have any cups out or anything?
He brings over a couple of cups.
Nice. Yeah, I pour 3 of them, and I just actually no, I pour 2 of them. I don't drink my own ale. That's rude. Yeah, and I push Malachi's over
So
to him.
I drink a sip
Yeah.
first.
He watches you expectantly, as if he's waiting for you to finish the whole thing.
It is good. I do.
Okay. After you're done, he'll sniff it and sip at it. Not bad.
Good.
Thank you.
Well, now that I've calmed my nerves, I've come to ask your aid with a problem of mine. I seek the giants of the Tether Wilds. What do you know of them? And I like looking stern-faced and totally serious.
They are monstrous. They stand over 15 feet tall. They're fairly primitive creatures wearing large hides over them, often wielding massive clubs. We would call them tree branches. They're known to throw boulders at their prey. Some of them will trap and eat people. Others will take them as slaves to do work, maybe tend to a herd of animals of their own.
Do they covet material things, animals, perhaps?
They'll sometimes keep a flock of animals to keep them fed. They roam in small groups. I've never seen or heard of more than 12 at once, but I think usually they stick to groups of 3 or 4.
Can they be killed?
Anything that breathes dies.
Do you know this personally?
I have not slain a giant in my time.
Could you?
Why would I?
That's a strong rebuttal. Look, I'll be frank with you, Sturge. My father is dying. Aldrich, the conjurer, the wizard in town, can save his life, but he requests the hair of a giant in payment. I'm afraid this is something I do not know if I can deliver. I come to you for guidance.
You want me to kill a giant to save your father? Well,
I'm not saying that. Perhaps you can aid me. Information. Tell me if I'm out of my mind, if it's impossible, if I should just move on. I know nothing of these creatures.
look, kid, you you don't look like much of a fighter. I think Tyrus would have a hard time with the giant. Probably wouldn't make it out himself. I might be able to do it, but probably not.
Would they? Perhaps I could. I don't need to kill them to take their hair. Is there
That's
something
true.
that they value more than that?
I think that's up to the individual giant. You might want to ask the Wemmicks out there in the Tether Wilds. They know more.
What else is in these tether wilds? Even if, let's say, I can deal with the giants, what are the chances of me finding one alive? Me alive, not the giant.
Hmm. I don't spend a lot of time in the Tether Wilds. Giants out there. If you know where one of them lives, you should be able to find him pretty easily, but just roaming about, maybe not. You could find a high hill or a tree on top of a hill and maybe get a view of the landscape, spot some giants and try and catch up with them. They do stand out. That's the one thing about giants is that they are easier to find than any other creature.
If you were me, what would you do?
He takes a draught of the ale, then grabs the ale skin, pours a bunch more, drinks that entire thing down, and goes, "Don't lose your family. They can never be replaced."
I guess I nod at him. Thanks for your time, Sturge.
You know, if you plan on doing this, I can help you get to the edge of the Tether Wilds, but I won't go any farther than that.
I appreciate that. I'll be in touch if that's what it comes to. Wait, one thing.
Hmm.
It's a cleric in town, Mother Elise. Do you know her?
Yeah, she sits on the council.
You wouldn't happen to know where she's gone, would you?
Thornwood,
Thornwood.
north. 2 days, 3 days. One if you're a fast rider on a horse.
Do you know what she's doing in the Thornwood?
Not really. Some cleric nonsense.
Perhaps my luck with her would be more than with a giant.
Perhaps. Got a soft heart.
Well, you can keep the ale, right, Connie?
Aye, that you can.
And I shake his hand
Okay.
and go to leave.
All right. Unless there's anything else you want to do, we're gonna flip over to the other players.
Yeah, no, I think I head back.
Okay. Other players. You make it to the Twin Tower estate.
Yes.
I assume there's like a footman or something standing out there.
There is.
I'd like to approach him and say, well, good day, sir. My name is Croak. I don't know if we've been properly introduced, you and me, but
Van Helsing. It's nice to see you again.
Good day. And just kind of give him a short bow. I'm here to entertain an audience with Lord Twin Tower if he's available.
He is. May I ask the nature of your business?
It's rather grim, but there's an opportunity for him to help me do some work cleansing the countryside.
Could you be more descriptive?
I believe there's a man who wants to make an attempt on his life.
Oh my! Of course. Please come in. I will fetch him immediately.
Thank you.
You're brought back into the same parlor room as always, and a few moments later, he is brought before you.
I kind of, give him a bow and say, "My lord."
Yes. What is it? You have word that there's an attempt on my life. My footman tells me.
Not coming to you, but rather, I understand that you are going to be inheriting the lands once overseen by Sir Edgar.
Good man. Sad death.
Yes, indeed. But as my friend here tells me, he had a word with a man who had been a constant thorn in the side of Sir Edgar during his rule. I believe this man's name is Spike. In fact, I believe we talked to you about him once. My point is, perhaps my friend here would be better for explaining the situation to you.
Lord Twin Towers
Okay.
turns and looks at Croak, kind of with a little hesitation.
Yes. I lick my like fatty lips and look at him and say, well, you see, I was approached during the funeral by a man by the name of Spike. He has plans, you see, of taking over the lordship of said town, and he desires to keep everybody in town and rule over it himself, become somewhat of a little noble himself. Seems he has plans of a higher calling than he already has. And to do that, he knows he wants to get you out of the way. It seems somehow he already knew of Mr. Van's and myself's and Malachi's acquaintance with you, and he approached me asking to bring you down the road into an ambush. And you see, I may not look much, but I am a clever man, and rather than refuse him outright, I learned the details of said plan. As you see, if you show up with force or whatnot, he shall take his men and flee to the countryside and be evermore a thorn in your side. But if perhaps we were to go along with his plan, but have Mr. Tyrus or your own men follow hidden behind us, when he springs his trap, we shall simply eliminate him and this thorn in your side forever.
He looks to Van. What he says is true?
That's what he told me. I've traveled with this man for some time. He's a bit strange and sometimes a bit seedy, but he's never led me astray.
Well, I appreciate you looking out for my life. Some of the serfs of Burnside were not too happy to be leaving their homes, but they can see no farther than the end of their nose. There are greater plans in the world, and we are all pawns in them.
Might I ask why you are disbanding the village? I know this is unrelated. I ask out of curiosity.
Why don't we deal with the matter at hand for now?
Of course.
If these men are attempting... Would you be willing to testify to this end in court?
Oh, absolutely.
Well, then it's simple. We will send Tyrus and some of his men out to Burnside and arrest them and bring them back here.
Might I...
Or take them straight up to Thornwood for the Countess to hear. Actually, no, he would have to go to... we'll make a trip to Newfort for the Count to hear their crimes, and then they will be executed.
You see, this is a shrewd man. I can tell by the way he approached me. He has machinations in motion. He seems very hell-bent on stepping into some kind of perceived power void, and his ambition seems to grow further than that. Now, I do know if we showed up in force in that town, he and his men would slip off into the woods, and it would be hell to track him down. Now,
I believe Tyrus Bellows is
to cut the head off that snake.
think Tyrus is a very clever fellow. If we inform him of these plans, I'm sure his men can surround the village before he walks in.
If this is the course of action you would take, then so be it. I will go along with whatever you plan in the end. However, I would like to point out that should you go and arrest this man, should you take the preemptive action, you'll have to deal with the trial. And this man, while he's a slime and a scoundrel, he does have friends, and he does have some apparently powerful friends. He has...
Powerful friends for a peasant? What, does he have a baker on his side?
I think Van kind of does that hearty, like, ha, 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 ha. And it just kind of goes back to being serious. Like, it's a very... He doesn't understand how to laugh naturally. It says, I believe you'd have an easier time if you were to... If you go and arrest him, you have to deal with the trial, and you have to worry about the possibility of him walking free. If you wait for him to come to you, he has no more defense.
We have a witness here that is backed by the word of a cleric and by myself that a known troublemaker who is being kicked off of his land wants to kill me. I don't know how many courtrooms you've been in, son, but as far as I'm concerned, that's an open and shut case.
If that's what you believe, then so be it. Personally, that sounds much safer than traveling the road.
Open and shut case. The issue is I worry that it may never get to court.
Oh no, another dead peasant.
Apprehend him is now. If word is coming back or no word comes back, he may very well vanish into the wilds to regain his power, and he will be a thorn in your side, I assure you. And he looks to...
I think you overestimate the simple peasant.
How about we accompany your men to make sure this arrest is done? We can direct him to where he lives.
Fair enough.
I don't know if we can leave at this moment. I have a friend who has a foolhardy task he wishes to engage on.
Well, I will summon Tyrus and have him and his men set out at once. If you can travel with him today, so be it. If not, they will return on the morrow with our prisoners in tow. If you could give him a full account of all the conspirators.
Please, I would speak with Tyrus.
Excellent.
He
motions to a footman who comes over and says, go fetch Tyrus, bring him here. And the footman runs off.
I guess I just kind of wait in the room for whenever he arrives.
If there's nothing else you guys want to say or do while waiting for Tyrus.
I kind of mentioned that both Malachi and I are he knows we're practitioners in the arts of magic, and we're constantly studying. And I kind of say this, I want to gauge his response when I say it, but I mentioned that we're putting a lot of effort into studying potential magical means through which we could cure his wife's ailment.
He doesn't really say much. He nods, but unless you have something more specific on the matter, he acknowledges what you've said, but does not push it further.
Okay. He's already got a new wife anyways and want that one back.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to gauge. It was like, oh yeah, that girl who died.
How much is my boat worth, Neil? My father's boat. Is that like well more than 500, or is that about 500?
Ooh, your father's ship.
So I just thought, rather than let him die, I probably would just sell the boat first if I could.
Father's ship. I'm looking at the wrong book. Okay, here we go.
Why are you trying to get yourself murdered by a bunch of sailors?
Wouldn't you rather die by giants? A more fun way to die?
Yeah. It's fantasy.
There's absolutely nothing fun of something rolling like a d20 plus 12. And then doing
I think it's plus 11.
8d6 damage.
Oh god.
I think they actually do plus 11. It's something ridiculous like that.
Yeah. But I'd rather take 1d20 plus 11 than 15 d20 plus
1.
2 or 3s. Actually, no, I wouldn't, though. It doesn't make sense. Because the 1d20 plus 11 could kill you instantly.
His ship is probably worth about 5,000 gold.
Wow.
All right.
Ships are expensive.
True that.
So
The
maybe
contents of so you saw his ledger and everything. So he had actually spent about 600 or 400 gold on the things that he bought in Redport, with hopes of selling them for. He was bought them for 400, hopes to sell them for 600, netting a profit of 200 gold. But then
Would
other things.
if you like slash the price significantly in a market, would your goods just sell very, very fast? Like if he's hoping to
Depends.
get about 600, if he was like, I'll do 500, would that make it sell much faster?
Probably. I mean, you'd find people who are more willing to buy them, but you guys don't know the first thing about the trade business of spices and silks and of whiskeys. There we go.
so. I think maybe I want to head to Aldrich's home slash store. I'm going to give another go at trying to talk this guy around.
Aldrich actually lives in the baroness's estate in her keep at the top of the hill in town. To get an audience with him is not something that you just walk up and do.
So Rohanna pulled a solid for me there.
Yeah.
Okay, I go and look for Van Helsing.
You would find.
Yeah, you know that he is over at the Twin Towers estate. So you guys will probably show up while Tyrus is there or just after. But let's do the Tyrus thing now then. So Tyrus shows up at the estate. And Lord Twin Towers says, Mr. Bellows, thank you for coming on short notice. These men here say that there is a peasant in Burnshire who is plotting an assassination of myself. As you know, Sir Edgar died recently, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Van Helsing here did the ceremony himself. And while they were in Burnshire, one of the troublemakers in town had approached our friend Croak here about aiding him in my demise. As you know, threats on the life of a noble is punishable by life imprisonment, or, if there's ample enough evidence, death. Would you go to the Burnshire village while it still stands and collect these men?
Now, Tyrus, I know you to be a very clever man and a man of martial prowess, but I have fear that if you were to show up in town with any amount of force, these peasants would simply and merely flee off into the wilds and would gather their forces for a later attempt, one that we may not have full knowledge of. I see this as an opportunity to cut this snake in half, cut its head off right now, and avoid any future problems. Now, he approached me looking to lay ambush to Mr. Twin Tower. If we were to lay the ambush instead for Mr. Spike, is what I'm proposing here, is that perhaps Mr. Twin Tower is not comfortable doing this himself, but if you were to impersonate him with a small number of men, maybe 2 or 3, maybe more, but that seems like an appropriate number to me, you could accompany myself down the road, and when the ambush were to happen, we could spring it with yourself and your men, and perhaps we could even hide a few in the forest ourselves. And in this way, we would eliminate this vile creature from the world without him running off and creating worse and unknown plans in the future.
Tyrus, who's a middle-aged man, nods slowly and says, well, a counter ambush is not a bad plan, but if we know where these people live, how many men does this, what is this peasant's name?
Spike.
He
lives
goes
in a
by
two-story
Spike.
house. Did we get like there were a bunch of people swarming around the house. Like, he had a few guards, right?
This time that you were there, you only saw the one other guy. Last time you were there, he had 4 other people with him and 2 dogs.
Okay.
I tell Tyrus, I know he has at least 10 other conspirators and men at arms that he can call upon, if not more. And he is rallying or attempting to support from the town and other towns as well.
10?
Should you show up in force, he could very well leave and gather these men in force elsewhere, unknowns to us.
Not to contradict what my friend says, but the first time that we went to his estate, I saw maybe 4 people there. 5 if you include him, as well as a few guard dogs. I saw 2. There may have been more inside. His 10
Those
number
were
may
the
not.
ones that were out and dealing with us in a mere purchase, a business. But I assure you, he let on to me when he approached me there was quite more.
4 to 10 men, maybe more. Counter ambush is sounding more and more dangerous. Whoever is used as bait might not make it back alive. I think perhaps we should speak to the baroness about this. She has plenty of men at her disposal. We could ride out with 4 or 5 knights, 30 men at arms, surround the village before nightfall, and close in on it entirely. The
That's
village
what I
is
was
already
thinking.
to be demolished, so if need be, if they hole up and resist,
Could burn the house down.
burn the house down around them.
I-
Lord Twin
I
Towers,
believe it
I
will
don't
be
want to
on quite,
presume to burn your property without your permission. Is that acceptable? Twin Towers nods.
I kind of say I would agree with Sir Tyrus on this decision. I believe that's a much safer plan.
Let us go speak to the Baroness. Well,
Wait, is he a sir? Is he a knight?
Tyrus is not knighted,
Okay.
but he has a last name, which is usually reserved for nobility, but he's not from Arcadia. So Tyrus is there's a mystery surrounding who he really
Okay.
is.
I think I just continue with sir then, unless he tells me to stop.
Yeah, most people usually refer to him as Sir or Lord.
Okay.
What were you gonna say? Or was that
Nothing. I just say that I agree with Sir Tyrus on the decision.
sure? All right. As you guys are heading out, you see Malachi and Malachi and Corny walking up to you.
Who are they with, though? So they're with.
They are with Tyrus Bellows and Lord Twin Tower and 2 of Lord Twin Tower's like footmen, not like soldier footmen, but servant footmen. And the whole parade of them are walking down the street towards the Baron's estate.
So I guess I fall in line with Ban and Croak. And I say, how did it go?
Well,
We are going to be
Questionable.
positioning the Baroness for men. Oh, this will work just as well. We'll have to deal with the trial this way, but it's probably much safer. We don't risk killing off whoever is used as bait.
Do you think Twin Tower feels as if he owes us a debt?
I believe he knows that I believe he sees a friend in me. I did warn him about an attempt on his life. I don't know if he believes that he's indebted to me, but I believe he sees me as an ally. Why?
Well, never mind. Let's go. Are we?
Is this about your father?
I thought perhaps Twin Tower could maybe lend the gold to pay Aldrich to heal my father, and I'm sure my father could make the gold back in a short time.
I kind of put my hand onto his shoulder, and I say, "Come on!" And I kind of walk back to the door and say, "Ask if we can go back in. That I have one more matter unrelated to discuss with Lord Twin Tower."
Oh, he's walking with you guys to the estate.
Oh, okay, so he's there.
Yeah, you're all walking together down the road.
Okay, I say, Lord Twin Tower, my friend here has a rather delicate matter he'd like to discuss with you. You've met Malachi before.
Yes, I do remember you, Mr. Malachi.
The Lord?
Are you already familiar with what we're doing here?
Yes.
Right, so. Speak up.
For what it's worth, I think it's a good plan.
Good.
Unfortunately, my father. Do you know of him? Jarrett. He's a merchant.
I cannot say I do.
He's returned from Redport, very ill. A magical ailment. He is to die soon.
Another magical ailment.
Aldrich, the great, the conjurer, can save his life, but requires a hefty sum of gold to do so. One which I cannot pay. I propose. It's a request that I do not expect you to grant. My father is a strong merchant. He has cargo with enough to pay Aldrich what he requires. If someone could lend me the gold to pay Aldrich so he could save my father's life before his time passes, I'm sure we could pay you back in kind. I have no friends, no allies with access to wealth like you. I would, of course, be in your debt, both monetarily and indeed.
This is the interesting question. He pats you on the shoulder and says, "You have brought my wife's defilers to justice, and your friends here have just informed me of an attempt on my life. The four of you," he says, spotting Corny, kind of pausing while looking at the gnome, have been upstanding citizens. Would be my honor to help you in your time of need. We are already on our way to see the Baroness. While we're there, we will see Aldrich, and I will tell him he will have his money.
I drop to one knee. Thank you, my lord. You
Yes,
are
yes.
a great man.
Okay. Shortly enough, you guys are at the estate. There's a hill in the center of town. So, hold on. The town is situated on the coast, and there's a river, two rivers actually, that merge and head out, giving you an L-shaped town along the waterfront of the ocean and the coast itself. So the town is a little L-shaped, and in the center part, where the L with the reverse square would be the upper left corner, is a large falsified hill. Basically, people have piled dirt here so you can build a manor on top of it that will have a nice view of everything, and that's where the Baroness lives. There's a little bit of a cliff around this hill, and then there's a wall on top of the cliff. So the cliff is maybe 10 feet high, 15 feet high in some areas, and then there's another 15-foot wall on top of that, giving you a 20 to 25-foot wall to climb over to if you want to get in. Up the middle, or facing the ocean side, there is a ramp that goes up the hill and goes to like a little gatehouse that has a walls jutting out on either side of it. So it's a recessed gatehouse. It's gentle enough that horses can pull wagons up it, but other than that, it's a steep hill. And up through up the road you travel, you get to the gatehouse, and seeing Twin Towers and Tyrus, you're immediately let in by the kind of slow and dull gatekeeper, Vernon. I'm sorry, not very James Valmont, who is the Countess's brother. He's in his 30s and late 30s, and he's a little slow and very kind of boring. They said he got kicked in the head by a horse when he was young, and he's not an idiot, but he's got like no personality. He's very matter of fact, very business all the time. He lets you guys in, and you are brought into the manor for the first time. Why don't we hop off to break, and when we come back, we will deal with the inside of the manor house. See you guys on the other side. Bye-bye.
Bye.